Welcome to Know Happiness, a podcast where we seek, find, and sustain happiness in some of the most unusual places. Today, we have Uné. She's a physician's assistant and guide in gut health and wellness. Welcome, Uné.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here with you.
Yeah, me too. So I ask everyone this question, and we'll just go ahead and start it out with what happiness means to you.
Happiness to me is seeing your calm from the inside be reflected in your outside world.
Ooh.
You know, when we do all the work, you go through all the emotional healing, you do your health stuff, and then things start to fall in place.
Yeah.
On the outside.
Right.
It's empowering. You're like, yes, this shit's actually working.
Success.
Yes. Other people are saying this, but actually seeing it, it's incredibly empowering.
Well, and I would imagine in your line of work, you get to see that firsthand. When someone comes to you with, and well, I'm speaking in a physical matter, but like, you know, I'm coming to you because my gut is a mess. You know, I have parasites and I'm going through all the things to heal my gut. And once that starts happening, how the insides and outsides all start to match. You just glow.
Yes, and most of the time I've tried a million other things. And, you know, when a lot of times in the medical field at the moment, you go in for one symptom and they hyper-focus on that one area, it needs to be addressed cohesively, you know, and in the 8 years I've practiced, I've come around to realize the majority of what we're dealing with is in the gut. When you start with the gut, it targets almost everything else, inflammation especially.
That is interesting, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I had read that there's almost as many neurotransmitters in the gut as there are in the brain. And so if we are super unwell in our gut health, then the depression and the anxiety and those things can really honestly be related to our stomach.
No, 100%. It's your second brain.
Yeah.
And I say second brain not as being directed by the first brain. It functions on its own. You know, and it's directly related with our hormone production too. So I have a huge interest in the perimenopausal, menopausal space as well. And healing my own gut led to my own spiritual awakening. So that connection that I've made, honestly, this just fell in place in the last month that I've realized this. It's huge. That's the key to happiness. I mean, it's just like, how did we not know this?
Right. Well, what's interesting is that I just heard this from somebody that said all research is really me search.
Yes, yes.
You know, that we try and heal ourselves, whether it's an emotional or a physical or a mental concern. And as we go down those rabbit holes, we learn and realize and figure out, oh, wow, this research is helping me. And then I'm going to go share it with other people.
Yes, yes. And then you show up differently in the world because you're vibrating differently.
Yeah.
So it starts with you. Yes.
Yeah, 100%. So I would love to know a little bit about your journey and kind of what got you down this path.
Let me start at the beginning. So
Yeah.
I was feeling very poorly towards the end of last year. Now, also, the diet wasn't great. I was drinking a decent amount of alcohol. I wouldn't say excessive, but consistently, yes. You know, have a glass of wine while you're cooking dinner, those kinds of things. And so I had indigestion quite a bit to where it was every meal I eat is so uncomfortable. My stomach's burning, nausea randomly. I'm like, okay, something's going on. I know this. Let's, you know.
Right, with your medical background.
Yes. And at the time, too, I had practiced in internal medicine for a couple of years. I never quite fit in with the traditional medical model. I think what put me on a different trajectory, I had one of my internships was with a functional medicine practitioner. And knowing that things could be done a different way, I can't go through the algorithm when someone walks in my door and just like, okay, you know, I'm really struggling with anxiety. Okay, try this SSRI first. When I know there's a different way available. So last year I got certified in functional medicine. So that is super exciting. Yay! But it gave me the information I needed and what I needed to do, you know, to heal my gut. So it did a stool test. Yes, dysbiosis, you know, across the board.
Explain what that is to people who may not know.
So our microbiome, it's basically if it works well, it's a beautifully balanced system, bacteria in our gut that helps maintain, it helps process foods. A lot of times they produce a lot of our vitamins for absorption. They are involved with hormone regulation as well. So when that is off, they can affect nutrient absorption too. So it's really important to keep that balance of the different bacteria in check in your gut. That also includes, is there parasites present? Is there parasites throwing the lining off? I think that about covers the microbiome.
Okay.
Also, it has a lot to do with our neurotransmitters up to the brain. You talked about anxiety and depression earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So maintaining that balance down, in the gut is huge. I was functional medicine certified, did a stool test myself and realized how messy things were. So started healing my gut with a lot of different herbs, of course, dietary adjustments, but I almost immediately started feeling better.
Yeah.
I've been super passionate about spiritual growth and personal growth. This has been several years coming. So as my physical body was healing and I was starting to feel better, and the bloating, oh my gosh, the bloating was horrific. Bloating started going down. I felt more present. More synchronicity started happening. I started noticing changes in my physical body. This led to a huge spiritual awakening for me, starting April of this year. And looking back, like I said, it was just the past month that I really realized it came from me healing the gut. It is so finely intertwined. The connection there is the gut, when our gut's inflamed, it throws a veil over our third eye and interrupts your connection with spirit and with your higher self.
Wow.
Yes.
I have never
That's the
heard
key.
that. Never heard that.
How do I know this? I've heard it from a couple of other people, but through channel. My channel opened 6 weeks ago, okay?
Whoa.
I knew I had this ability. I think we all do. It
Yeah.
looks different for different people. But being able to ask my guides is, basically ask them how this is all connected. It's like, no, the gut stores a lot of our emotional trauma, a lot of our emotions that we ignore, especially as women.
Mm-hmm.
Your boundaries, is your boundary being crossed right now? Your body tells you. The feelings we have in our bodies is directly connected. It's our communication from spirit and from our higher selves.
Yeah. Like the body keeps score.
Yes, 100%. How often do we ignore that?
Yeah.
And when you start listening, so what happened with me, one of the first things I noticed, sometimes you have the feeling, you're like, well, I'm not sure if this is sitting right or sitting not. As I healed my gut, that fire, and I run very calm all the time.
Yes,
but
you
when
do.
I do. But when something's being crossed now, it's like a fire. There is no questions. Like the fire's in me is like, no, you handle this. Like this is not okay. And you can do that very compassionately.
Yeah.
But handle it. And the more you acknowledge and honor that guidance, the stronger it becomes.
Wow. Uné, that is crazy because I think of how I've lived my life so much of just like ignoring physical symptoms and how simply healing the gut has allowed you to literally have strong and firm boundaries, compassionate, strong, firm boundaries.
Yes.
Like who in a million years would think, wow, I've needed this my whole life.
Yes. Yes. And it comes from a place of love.
Yeah.
Number one, self-love.
Yeah.
And then when your cup is full, you can share it with the rest of the world and your light shines bright.
Yes.
So, so I am just so excited. And in that process, I figured out what my soul purpose is. Isn't that what happiness is for all of us? Knowing what your soul purpose is and then directing your energy towards that?
100%.
Otherwise, you're spinning your wheels in 10 different directions doing what?
Yeah. Well, I noticed that with myself. I run really fast. I'm constantly going. I'm like a little hummingbird, but I was doing so many things that really didn't fulfill me, light me up. Yeah. I mean, they needed to be done, but I was spending so much time doing all of those things to check off the list that I didn't have the energy or capacity to really do things that I loved. And it wasn't until recently that I'm like, the boundaries, what? I need help with this today, or I'm not doing that. And it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Or the no without feeling the need to explain.
Yeah.
Are you coming to this? No, thank you.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, and I think as women, we've just been taught our whole lives to be, submissive and subservient and yes to everything. And it is quite an awakening to realize we actually have choices.
Yes. And it's not hard. I think it's half of it is us making up the nonsense in our head. Well, if I say no to this person's going to act in this way.
Right.
And then I started saying no and I'm like, oh.
It's not a big deal.
No, it wasn't. Most of the time it wasn't.
Right.
So, it was very liberating.
Well, it's funny because the people who seem to have problems with our boundaries, it's really their problems, right? It has nothing to do with us.
We are not responsible for another's emotional well-being.
No.
Not well-being or regulation.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got your functional medicine certification.
Yes.
And did you open your own practice? What's going on with that?
I got the business all set up, had it ready to go to launch in March. And there was a hard stop, kept running into different challenges. And finally, when my channel opened, I'm like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
It wasn't ready. It wasn't meant to be. I've been in a sacred pause since then until now. I'm at the end of it now. I'm getting ready to come out of it. But they said the practice that I was getting ready to set up is going to look different. And it's going to carry very different energy. And I hadn't connected at the time the connection with spirit through your gut. So I'm going to address both. I'm going to offer both at the same time because I don't think you'll fully be able to heal your gut if you don't see that connection between the two.
Yeah.
So my goal would be for people to heal their gut. Yes, you're going to in turn heal the physical symptoms that you're having too, but it's going to help them connect to their higher self, to their soul purpose here, and help them remember who they truly are.
Uné, that is such a deep, beautiful calling.
It's been amazing.
It's so cool. I'm so excited. I've known you a few years now, has it been? And you have just metamorphosed.
It's true. It's true.
Really. You've you've always been lovely. You've always been a very kind, gentle, beautiful soul, inside and out.
Thank you.
But I can see you really stepping in to the truth and who you came here to be and what you came here to do.
Yeah, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Because you're searching and I know I'm a healer but not finding the right fit. And I'm so grateful now I was led to here.
Yeah, because you've just been picking up little tools,
And everything's been there's nothing that was wasted.
No.
I'm like, everything was divinely orchestrated.
Yes.
The timing is just right. I'm not behind. The guys keep telling me, you are not behind. You are right on time.
You are.
So
are you going to office out of your home? How does that look for you?
I swiveled in that department too because I wanted to do one-on-one provider-patient relationship. I don't foresee that right now. What I'm wanting to do is create a course where I teach people and empower them. It will also give them access to testing. But the test will be interpreted by the company's physicians there. So if there's a red flag coming up, yes, you go see your primary care or go see something that needs to be handled urgently. The rest of it, I'm going to teach to you how to maintain gut health long term. But in combination with that, the emotional healing that we need to do, things we need to look at, and with that to just create a more cohesive treatment plan.
Well, sign me up. So do you have walk me through that because that sounds amazing. I don't know anybody who wouldn't have interest in doing something like that.
And this seems like a different trajectory we're talking about now. Just in the past week, and you might know this already, but you don't know what you don't know. Digging in, so one of the areas I've still been working on is my finances, okay? I'm like, there's blocks. Like, what am I doing? I'm educating myself, the financial literacy. Yes, we have that on board. I do not spend money frivolously. Like, what's going on? Really sitting down with the guides. No, I still have some cords from relationships way back
Like in other lifetimes, or is this in this lifetime?
Both.
Okay.
There were ancestral things, and in this lifetime. That has nothing to do with finances. And they said, and I've heard this a million times, I'm like, money it's energy. It's energy flow, right? Mm-hmm. So they made it simple. Where are you still leaking your energy? I'm like, this has nothing to do with each other. No, so I got to practice sitting down, transmute with love and release those cords. And I'm in a different place now because of that. So things like that I want to share that I've come across on my own journey, things that you wouldn't even think of. Also incorporate that because it all ties together. Sure. The abundance mindset, abundance in health, abundance with finances, abundance with the connections you're supposed to be making.
Yeah.
So that's a little off track, with the health. So it will be modular. And yes. And talking about gut health specifically, and then coming back to the remembering who you are.
I love that.
Yeah.
How cool.
And we have all the answers within our own body if you're willing to slow down and listen.
I 100% agree with that, in that it's in that stillness where all the answers come. And I think for me, I often keep myself very busy to avoid,
sitting in the discomfort?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because sometimes I don't think I'm going to like exactly what I'm hearing.
Yes, it's the resistance more than the actual doing of the thing. I think a lot of times that you're like, I don't want to do it. And then we finally do it. I'm like, that wasn't that bad.
Yeah. Well, I, am just feeling at this time just very overwhelmed physically. That seems like there's one thing coming up after another. And I get frustrated a lot of times because in our community, everybody's like, okay, well, what's the emotional, spiritual blog? It's like, no, can't I just have a physical problem
that I can fix by taking a vitamin or something?
Just give me an antibiotic. But I do see that it's interrelated, and but I'm overwhelmed because I just don't know where to even begin. There's so many systems and issues, and it's hormonal. I've got hormone challenges. I've got physical structural back issues. I've got gut issues. I've started on digestive enzymes, and I've got yeast, and just go down the list, and it's like, where do I begin? And so I think a lot of times when I feel overwhelmed, I don't do anything. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So this conversation is very timely for me. Imagine that, that I'm going to just start with my gut. Let's get that tuned up.
I like that.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, I'm trying to simplify it too, because sometimes it's very overwhelming for folks. So I'm trying to nail it down just to the most, important things. And then for folks that are ready to go into a little bit more depth, there'll be opportunity for that as well.
Well, and I think people are so accustomed to just feeling mediocre, blah, that once you start feeling better, that it's like, oh my gosh, this is how I'm supposed to feel. Like they're shocked that we actually, aging isn't supposed to be, I have no energy because, you're just getting older, which is like what every doctor loves to tell you when you come in with a symptom is like, well, that's old age. But from my understanding, I think it's even in some of the Eastern philosophies and medicine that no, you can have just as much vitality at 90 as you do at 25 if you keep everything in alignment.
Yep. And apart from that fatigue, I'm going to swivel in a different direction here now listening to you, because a lot of people are dealing with that and not understanding where it's coming from. The earth is being hit with a lot of different light energy, light codes coming from different directions in your body. Your light body's perceiving it. And your physical body is tired and you're like, what is going on? I'm tired. There's something wrong, right? That's the first thing we think.
Right.
These light codes were designed to come in. Our cells and our DNA holds hidden codes to be reactivated to remind us who we truly are. a ton of energy coming in at the moment, and it's fluctuating. And I don't know if you're familiar with the Schumann resonance.
Yes.
Love that.
Yes.
So the fluctuations you've seen in that, it's been higher and all over the board more than it's ever been.
Can you explain that to people that are listening?
For the Schumann resonance specifically, and I won't get too scientific here. So a lot of the light coming into the earth now from the sun, it's coming from lots of different places. But it hits the atmosphere and it gets trapped a little bit. But the Schumann resonance basically reflecting the magnetic field on the earth at the moment. And it fluctuates and our bodies feel that and perceive that.
And it's measurable. Like there's actual graphs that you can see. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And
what do you think that's from?
There's a lot of do you want to go down that road?
Why not? We can cut this up any way we want.
The light codes we're getting from the sun, from the central sun, from our star families. It's coming up from the earth as the crystalline grids are getting reactivated. It's coming from inside of our cells as our crystalline DNA is being activated.
Okay, so crystalline DNA, what is that?
So let me just pause. When you hear crystalline, anytime you're going to hear about the crystalline grids of the earth, crystalline DNA, crystalline refers to the original divine blueprint.
Okay.
Before there was any distortion or disruption to a system or to the earth. Crystalline DNA, we come in with our 2 strands of DNA, like we're all familiar with the physical strands, but we also come in with crystalline DNA that are dormant. We have the opportunity to reactivate those DNA strands.
And how does one do that?
With allowing. This is where I'm heading with the fatigue and all that. I just want to plant a seed, you know, and if it lands and it feels in alignment to you, great. This has happened more as I learned this and I was able to welcome those light codes in to help reactivate that DNA. It was divinely orchestrated from your higher self. But free will, you can allow it or you can't allow it. But when you don't allow it, it causes a lot of disruption and discomfort in your system. That's leading to our growth and remembering who we truly are. So my guides, what it looked like for me, and I don't have it nearly as bad now. April was bad for me. Random, it feels like warm water running over, just energy coming in and like you get lightheaded. There were times where I got really lightheaded. I'm like, you have to steady yourself. I'm like, okay, carry on. You don't think of it because I'm busy with my work then. It kept happening. And finally being able to connect with my guides, they said it's a simple 3-phrase thing. When that happens again, you stop, you say, I receive, I understand, thank you.
Okay.
I understand. What do I understand? No, I don't understand any of it.
Right. What am I understanding?
Your light body does.
Well, your highest self.
Yes, your light body and your crystalline DNA, it understands. Our mental mind, we are stuck up here and we need to move from here down into our heart and the feeling in our bodies. We always want to interpret everything. What does this mean?
Give it meaning.
Did I do this? How does it all work? You don't need to know everything. You need to allow and be open to the growth and the love that you get at the end of the day by allowing it.
So it was your guides then, because I'm sitting there thinking, how did you even have a word for crystalline grid?
I've been listening to lots of people, so I was already familiar with it.
Okay.
But there's lots of information coming through, a new vocabulary that it keeps growing almost every day. Crystalline grid, everything is divinely orchestrated, and I keep saying that, the little hints, the things you're super passionate about, it's all tied into your soul purpose and what you're supposed to be doing. The crystalline grid, I'm obsessed with crystals, always have been, okay? I'm drawn to Arkansas like nobody's business.
Yeah, you're hiking there.
All the time.
Yeah. Like you'll drive down there for an afternoon hike and drive back.
Yes.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, the Buffalo River especially.
Yeah.
So Mount Ida specifically. I keep referring to remembering who you are. I'm starting to remember very slowly bits and pieces of past lives. and those tools and those capabilities of what we're bringing into this life. So I did a lot of crystal work thousands of years ago. And there were lives that I walked at Mount Ida.
Wow.
Yes. And there was wisdom and healing tools that I encoded in some of the crystals that I mined a month ago.
So you literally are finding crystals that were yours.
Yes.
Hundreds of years ago.
Yes.
Wow.
How insane is that?
So how did you get that understanding? Were your guides telling you as you are picking up?
Yeah, but you feel it.
Uh-huh.
My hands vibrate a lot. When something feels really true to me, you feel it in the body. And the more I'm tuned into the feeling in the body, you feel what's right for you or in alignment for you and what is not.
Yeah.
And everybody's on a different path. So what's right for me is not going to be right for the next person. So some of my healing work will have a lot to do with the crystal work too. And I'm learning about the scalar field as well. And that's how we're able to, that's also how a lot of the information and wisdom are stored in our DNA and it's such small space. And we can, access it thousands of years later and it's still perfectly intact. You access it by resonance, by frequency. You match that frequency with which you encoded it with.
So, okay, then if it's all about frequency, are you saying like that comes from getting our bodies healthy and well so
Yes.
that our frequency, we're vibrating at a different level that then channels, remembers things in a different way?
Yes, and it can be very simple. Let me give you an example of what it looks like for me, and I'm getting more strict and strict with this. And my girls know this is really funny. I walk my lawn twice a day. What that means, I grab my cup of coffee. That rose tea you introduced me to, I'm absolutely obsessed with.
Yes.
Absolutely love it. That's what I'm on at the moment. So take my tea barefoot on the grass.
Always.
Yes. It just helps neutralize our systems, helps reduce, inflammation. That's one of my things that really calms me down. Walk the lawn twice a day. I'm strict with twice. I feel called out there. It's so anxiety reducing.
Yeah.
I'm like, if folks just try that, but not just that, I'm very strict with who I allow into my space. If I have control over that, sometimes at work, you need to put some buffers up. But as far as where I spend my energy and what I allow myself to see and listen to, I don't watch TV. And that's a personal choice. I just don't. There's other things I would much rather do. I don't watch the news. No fear tactics in my life is allowed.
Wow.
No, I'm very, very strict with that. If I need, the politics, I'm not listening to politics at all at the moment. That doesn't mean I don't educate myself before I go vote, but I'm not a politician, so I don't need to know about that. Going inside of myself and making sure I'm centered, that is how you can affect the collective. That is the biggest impact we all have.
And I would so agree with that because for a while there, I was getting really swept up in all this political stuff. And I had read that we, hundreds of years ago, we weren't meant to have this much connection and understanding of what's going on all over the world. We are built energetically and at our core to really focus on our immediate core group, our tribe.
Yeah.
Those are the things that when someone's child gets sick, we're there and can comfort them. We're capable of that.
Yes.
But this understanding of all these different wars and, buildings falling down and it's just creating this massive fear, place of fear that we're all living in if we're constantly, and social media has done that as well, So I have not gotten to where I'd like to be, but I'm definitely scaling back on that because you're right. What can we do? The greatest thing that we can do is to focus on our inner healing ourselves. And then that affects our immediate surroundings and our tribe.
No, and especially now knowing what my soul purpose is, it's even more important for me to be grounded so I can spread the light and do what I need to do. It's part of that.
Yeah.
So
you're a yard walk. Well, I am too. I think my neighbors probably think I'm crazy because I walk the dogs barefoot.
Yes.
And I mean, a lot of times I'll end up on the sidewalks because I have to cross over the street. But, I just don't wear shoes.
No.
I've never worn shoes. So I must have, as a kid, had a little bit of knowing because my dad could not keep shoes on me.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a story that like we were at Disneyland and we'd waited for hours to get on Space Mountain. And we get to the top and I don't have my shoes. And the guy's like, sorry, she can't ride without her shoes. My dad like,
got to be kidding.
Right. Me. But of course, it's Disneyland. So they let us come right back, go get my shoes and come right back and ride Space Mountain.
Oh, that's good. Oh, my gosh.
But, I don't want to have a biopsy on the bottom of my foot because that means I'm going to have to wear socks or at least, something to cover it. And I don't like that.
No.
So, yeah, I mean, it's so simple. Barefoot. It's that simple. Go outside and be barefoot.
Yep.
And the health benefits to that, the emotional benefits, the spiritual. Mm-hmm. It's just like ching, ching, ching.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And so, I want to circle back to some of the symptoms folks are experiencing.
Yeah.
The random symptoms. I'm putting a guide together that will be available, for folks that are starting to go through this because it was really the waves of energy that I told you that I was really experiencing in April when that started. It was extremely disorienting once, not the veil was lifted, but when I was realizing what is real and what is not. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, then what are we doing? Why am I going to the work I'm doing currently? And you're questioning everything. And sure. I'm like, how am I even functioning at work at the moment where my head is over here trying to make sense of what's happening? It's very disorienting.
Did you think you were going crazy a little bit?
Are you kidding me? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. 100%. And luckily, there were people in place. My support system was already in place when that was happening. I know there's people close to both of us. And I'm like, how did you, for that long, I'm like, and everybody's path is different. This is not the kind of information you go and dump on somebody. No. People come to you and ask you, what are you doing? Then that's the place to share. Right. But you honor their sovereignty. Not everybody's ready to receive this kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's attraction, not promotion.
Yes. Yes. So, no, I was just so grateful. Like I said, the support team was in place already around me as this is happening. But also, part of my purpose is I agreed to awaken early when I come in to also help guide. So I'm putting together a guide called the Wonderland Dilemma.
Okay.
And honestly, I don't want the sense of awe and the magic around us to go away, and I don't think it ever will, because there's more and more and more I'm discovering every day. There is such an incredible amount of support and love around us. We can't even begin to fathom it. But getting back to the guide, it's an ascension symptom guide is what it is.
Okay.
So dealing with different things people are having. I had a lot of headaches at the time too. And you do question, what is going on here?
Yeah.
Like, do I need to go see a doctor? What's off? But maybe just consider I'm getting an upgrade.
Yeah.
My crystalline DNA is coming online.
Oh, I like that because, it requires a bit of discernment.
Yeah.
Like, is there something to really be concerned about here? Or, because I even just said that the other day, I think I'm going through a major spiritual upgrade.
Upgrade, yes.
Like, things are just bing, bing, bing. And I've noticed for myself that despite all of these physical things that are kind of trying to create blocks and hinder me, it's not. My attitude, my mindset have been like totally positive. Like I'm staying out of the victim space.
Yeah.
And I'm staying out of fear. And everything is just continuing to work out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
okay,
beautiful.
So you've got this guide coming.
Yes.
When is that going to be ready?
It's ready right now.
So where do you go to get it?
So the Instagram page is brand new.
Okay.
It's called the Crystal Architect.
Okay.
Yes. So I'll be learning a lot more about my crystal work coming up too. I just wanted to focus on, this conversation first.
Sure.
But, so Instagram handle, the Crystal Architect with a full stop between each word. And there's a little bit of humor worked in with that too, because yes, I question myself still every week. Am I crazy? And
Right.
I'm like, no.
You learn your audience really quickly.
Oh, I'm sure. There'll be all kind. Yeah, but some people are your people and some people are not. Right. And that's okay. I respect that.
Yeah. I know. I think of like my family. They all think I'm like off my rocker, and that's okay. They love me, but they don't really understand me, And I think initially when I got into this world, I wanted to share it with everyone.
Yeah.
I was so excited, kind of like with psychedelics. It was all about psychedelics, and it isn't for everyone, or at least they're just not ready, and that's okay.
Right.
It used to be a source of frustration, and I just, at this point, I just stay in my lane.
That's a great saying.
Yeah.
Yes, stay in your lane.
Stay in my lane.
I like it.
Yeah. Well, as women, I'm not sure how young you are. I'm getting ready to turn 47. And so I noticed in myself a lot of physical changes.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly mental, just everything from sleep to being able to maintain muscle strength, all of that. And my hormones are
everywhere.
Yeah. And so I started taking testosterone shots. Okay. I'm on progesterone. I take proneglinone or whatever it's called. The only thing I'm not on is estrogen.
Okay.
So tell me how important hormones are for people emotionally, mentally, tell me the role in which they play.
I think estrogen specifically, progesterone and testosterone are great too, but I think the decline with estrogen has the biggest effect. We know now.
Uh-huh.
The first thing that comes to mind that I think most people are familiar with is the bone strength that it maintains. It maintains cardiovascular health. A lot of studies coming out about brain cognitive health, Alzheimer's prevention, when folks are supplementing with that. Not everybody is a candidate, unfortunately. Having the cosmetic background that I do, the skin maintenance, so that's a great benefit. And of course, using it topically now too. I don't think a lot of people are familiar with the estrogen cream topically. Does an amazing job.
Wow.
Yeah. It's prescription, but I just wanted to throw that out there.
Okay.
Typically what you see when folks start going into perimenopause or menopause, your cholesterol rises. Cholesterol itself is not a bad thing. It's an antioxidant, but it raises when there's inflammation in the body. It's a sign of, inflammation. And that usually happens when estrogen goes down on a lot of folks. So when cholesterol rises in perimenopausal, menopausal folks, usually once they start supplementing again, it normalizes.
The cholesterol.
Yes.
So that's interesting because my cholesterol, I eat pretty darn well. And my HSCRP is really high, and that was from the mold toxicity and the cat scratch fever. And at one point they thought, I had some kind of autoimmune disorder. I have Epstein-Barr virus chronically. And so there was a lot of that going on. And, if I hadn't have been going to a functional medicine doctor, it would have been like, let's get you on a statin.
I was just heading towards the statin.
Yeah, let's get you on a statin. And it's like, they're finally putting together that like back in the 80s, it was fat is bad, no fat, high carb, and putting sugar into everything. And then here, flash forward, we have massive spikes in Alzheimer's and dementia and, things, the fat that we need for our brain.
Yeah, the myelin sheaths around the neurons, they're made from cholesterol.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it isn't the big bad wolf that everybody, had believed it to be.
100%. And the studies on the statins, the efficacy of the statins, were done a majority on men. So how do you just go ahead and apply it to women too?
Right.
That's the craziest thing I've ever heard. So I'd be very, very hesitant to start a female on statin. In fact, I probably ethically would never do it.
I wish there were more practitioners like you, Uné. Seriously. I look at like my parents, our parents, and that generation, and how they're just, for the most part, so just don't question anything. They just go to their doctors blindly trusting that. And I'm not saying that it's the doctors are ill-intended. It's just how they were trained, because all of this stuff got taken out of med school.
Yeah.
They have very little nutritional training and any of that. So, you know, that it's our Western medicine model is prescribed. And then like my mother-in-law is on so many medications, and it's like, how would you even know that they're working?
Well, or whatever symptom you have is not caused by one of the meds. You know, it's hard to navigate that many. Yeah.
But, you know, changing that mindset in someone that's 82 years old is probably just not going to happen.
And it's probably going to cause them more anxiety at the end of the day, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So.
But it's such a gift that, like, we get to learn and understand and remember this, that it really comes back to more simplistic, like, ways of taking care of ourselves that then we can pass along to our children.
Yes.
You know, like, so we are making that change.
Yeah. No, I'm really excited that I was able to dive into this, because I have several friends. I'm 42 now. But several friends closer to 50 that were starting to have issues, you know, perimenopausal, they're not full menopausal yet. And I'm like, what in the world is going on here?
Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't graduate that long ago. It was 8 years ago. And I'm like, I don't know how to help myself. The symptoms they're having, I'm heading in that direction. That's why I took a deep dive again with the functional medicine, you know, with the hormones and all that, and really educated myself on that, because folks, they're not taught this. A lot more studies are coming out, but the physicians are not taught it in medical schools just yet. A lot of times it takes a good 10, 15 years for the new research to get incorporated into the curriculums.
Yeah.
You know, so I have compassion for the providers as well. Their schedules are so jam-packed. There's very little time left to, okay, now in my leisurely time, I'm going to go take a deep dive on this, you know? So, yeah.
Well, we're actually getting ready to start seeing this new practitioner who does a lot of exosomes and peptides and hormone. She's kind of, I'm hoping I can combine all of my doctors into one. And the way that they, you know, people say they can't go and see these doctors because a lot of times they're they're fee for service. And the way it was explained to me is like, yeah, that's true. But do you realize how much your insurance company is, paying out to these doctors for a 5-minute conversation where none of your health history is really looked, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And how what you're actually getting for your money is like, it's not even comparable.
Right.
But it is expensive. Even we're just seeing copays.
Yeah. No, so I'm hoping some of the changes that's happening, you know, in the country, I would really like to see a change, number one, in the healthcare system, the actual practice of healthcare. Well, it's tied together. And then the insurance, you know, and the involvement of the pharmaceutical companies.
Well, they're owned. Half the pharmacies are owned by the insurance company. Yeah. So that's like a massive like conflict of interest. And yet it's so incestuous that it's obvious that it's intended to keep us sick.
Yeah.
Sick care.
Yes. That's why it's important for me to help empower patients. Like you're your own best healer. Nobody else knows your body as good as you do, as well as you do.
Right. Well, I think of Scott, and you know, when he had lymphoma, and for a year they kept misdiagnosing him, and he would come in and he would say, "I think I have lymphoma." No, he literally said, "I think I have lymphoma," and the doctor said to him, "You need to stay off the internet. You do not have lymphoma." And literally a year later, he was diagnosed with it. So it's like
that's nutty.
Yeah,
I haven't heard that story.
Isn't that crazy?
Yes.
Yeah. Meanwhile, he's being pumped full of steroids for a year and, you know, itching all night long, just hives, and poor thing. So, you know, they're saying, you know, food is medicine. How do you tie nutrition in with everything that you're working with?
Ooh, I have something to share about that.
Okay.
You know, of course, changing our eating habits from going to fast and convenient. Yes, we might spend a little bit more time at eating whole foods and less processed foods. But what I've noticed, so as I'm walking my lawn, and I've heard this from other people, but I have just noticed in the past week, and it's been mind-blowing to me. walking my lawn. So you're communicating with the earth. And just as the earth is feeding you and neutralizing some of those electrons we talked about that reduces inflammation, you're also feeding the earth and helping it come back to life. I'm noticing new weeds growing on my lawn. Okay, I don't spray my lawn with anything.
Yeah.
One of it being purslane. So, of course, I'm on the internet. What is this? Most beautiful, it's almost a succulent-looking plant. It's one of the two new ones that came up. And it's got a red, really pretty red stem to it. Really high in omega-3s. And I've heard another person say this. When you walk the earth like that and you tend it like that, a relationship builds and it starts growing things that you need nutritionally.
Oh.
Not just that plant that comes up if I walk the lawn frequently, the nutritional levels in that plant will change depending on what I need at that time.
Okay.
So I just made a salad a couple of days ago. I'm like, okay, this thing is just so beautiful. So that, and then what's the other one called? Like white clawfoot or something like that. It's a wild spinach. Also really pretty. I'm, obsessed with plants. My house is basically a jungle. So I'm out in the yard with these two, chopping it up, washing it like I do with my herbs and throwing it in the salad. It was so good. So I'm like, this is wild. And again, back to the guys, like, yeah, this is what the new earth is going to be like. Apart from just your veggie plot you're growing. I mean, the possibilities are endless.
Oh, okay. So that's going to change my walk tonight out in my yard because I have my little raised bed garden. That's like growing like gangbusters.
Yes.
And I, like you, we do things like we have bat houses in our backyard to kill mosquitoes, versus spraying our yards. We thought, oh my gosh, we were so upset. We've named all of our bats Steve. And we noticed Steve had babies because there was tons of bats all over our backyard, which we love. And then like a couple months ago, we realized we weren't seeing them. And we were like, oh my God, those fuckers are spraying their lawns and Steve's eating the mosquito and then it's killing Steve's.
Yeah, in the cycle.
And it frustrates me when these pesticide people want to come and spray my yard. And I'm like, no, I walk on my yard barefoot. I let my dogs on why would I want all that chemical stuff sprayed in there? Anyway. Yeah. It's a happy story because Steve is back.
Yes. Okay,
Steve is
good.
Back and the life cycle may continue.
I love that.
But I'm definitely going to go check out the weeds in my yard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dude, it's like the dandelions. They're so good for us.
Yes.
With the liver.
I do drink dandelion tea. Mm-hmm. And I've heard that like if you boil it down, just it's good to drink that way too.
Yes.
Food is medicine.
It is. Sure is.
You hear a lot of like buzz on the internet and social media around detoxing. What do you see are the benefits to a detox or how that works for us?
Well, it's kind of incorporated in healing your gut, making sure all your clearance pathways are open. When you have a lot of junk in your gut, we need to get that flowing first before we start detoxing. Mm-hmm. So it has a way to be eliminated.
Sure.
Huge part in that is your liver. And getting back to the emotions that we store in the gut that we talked about before, us as women especially, a lot of anger is stored in the liver. And when you think about liver is responsible for detox, but also tying it to the hormones again, a lot of your hormone production and the cholesterol processing goes through the liver. So it affects your hormones directly. Mm. So, getting back to the gut health, that's a way to, and focusing on detox is a way to help support your hormones to help regulate them naturally.
So what does a detox look like? Or I mean, I know that there's all different kinds, but like for somebody who's just getting into health and wellness and spirituality and they want to start, something like a detox, what would you recommend?
It's really hard. That's why I'm a huge proponent of doing the stool test to see exactly what we're dealing with. Does the person have H. pylori like I did? Then you're going to focus on healing a little bit first before you start your kill protocol to, if there's other dysbiosis going on. So I'm a little hesitant just to say, well, everybody should do a detox.
Like a blanketed.
Yeah, if you haven't done any work, if it's something that's just a maintenance for you, sure. There are great companies that have great products together, detox once a year. But I think if you haven't done anything on your gut, you really need to take a look and see.
Yeah, get a test.
Yes.
Yeah, I would 100% agree, because it's like, when a detox can be hard on your body. It makes you tired. It can really stir a lot of things up. And then, if you don't kind of go slowly at it, you're going to feel like you got hit by a Mack truck.
Yeah, and you have to support nutritionally with it. B vitamins, we burn through that like crazy. So your vitamins and your minerals are very, very supportive for detox. So I don't think people think of it in that way. Detox is like we're just getting rid of the bad stuff, but hand in hand with that goes supporting the body to process that while it's happening.
Yeah, I'm actually getting ready to do a GI stool test. Because I just finished a Nutra-Eval test. And so we got to, before I start to deal with that cat scratch stuff, I'm not absorbing nutrients.
Okay.
So they want, and unfortunately that protocol is like antibiotics. There's really no way around
it. Okay.
You have to take them for 2 months.
Okay. But then you support afterwards.
Right.
Sometimes you have to.
Yeah. I mean, there's just no way around it. And apparently it's a pretty brutal detox, but whatever. We'll get to that.
You're going to be nice and bright afterwards.
Exactly.
Yes.
Think how much my skin will glow.
Yes, 100%.
So what do you say to people who are just starting in their spiritual journey? What would you say to them? Like, what are some really important things to keep in mind? Because this can seem a little overwhelming.
It is, because we've been a lot of places. I would say follow your intuition. Follow your intuition. The more we listen to it and create quiet space in a crazy busy day, the more you listen to your intuition, the stronger it's going to become.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because we really do have the answers.
We do.
We just have to get quiet enough to hear
it. Exactly. And that's why you mentioned being out in nature earlier.
Yeah.
Yes.
What does a day in your life look like with your wellness and spiritual practices?
Honestly, to be completely truthful, I haven't been working out as in strength training a whole lot. I would say the majority of this year, like the sacred pause I've been telling you about. Yeah. It's physically taxing. So, and I'm like, I just don't feel called to be doing that right now. And I'm like, should I be doing that? Again, luckily I do have access now to my guides to ask these questions. They're like, no, like you are going through a lot of integration. You need a lot of quiet time, a lot of rest to make sure these things are landing properly so I can do my job going forward. So I haven't been doing that. However, what I have been noticing, my diet's been super, super clean. And it's been the motivation's there now with my channel being open. This is another thing that comes with the ascension process. Some people are going to experience actual physical changes and some won't. It's a personal decision when things were set up with your higher self before you came in. So that makes it a little bit tricky for me. And I think that's another reason why there was a delay in developing this protocol, because now you're dealing with two populations of people. Folks going through ascension that are having these symptoms. What symptoms am I talking about? I've noticed physical changes in my body, and it's not just from the gut healing. I'm sensitive to foods I've never been sensitive before. I cannot tolerate alcohol at all. I get sick from one drink, and that's okay. And it's been explained to me, processed food, I can't eat red meat. It just doesn't taste good. And I grew up on it. I enjoy it. It doesn't make me feel good. It doesn't taste the same, which is kind of crazy to me. But my channel, it basically muddies my channel when I eat these things that my body is not craving. My body's not very strict, very clear about what it wants or what it doesn't want. When you put it in your mouth and you're like, it's just a no. It's a clear yes or a clear no, which has been really interesting to me.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It is awesome. And I don't need half as much protein as I used to. I can't tolerate it. So it's difficult for me as a practitioner. So now you have these dietary guidelines and it's not applying to everyone.
Yeah.
So it comes back to follow your intuition. Your body knows better than anybody else. And I'm feeling more vibrant, more energetic than I ever have.
And probably with, like you said, less protein, probably not as much. This notion that we need to eat and eat and eat, 3 meals a day and the snacks and getting all these macros. I personally don't ascribe to that.
I don't anymore. And to be completely honest with you, I don't know that I would have believed a patient walking in my office telling me this, that they could feel this good. My muscles are defined. I'm in better shape now than I have ever been in my life. And you're telling me you're getting I probably get less than 50 grams of protein in right now.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah. And just requiring less food in general.
Yeah.
So it's been very interesting.
Well, yeah. I just learned about the breath, when you're eating and you sigh, that's a cue to stop eating, that we ignore, or like that we ignore that we eat something that our bodies don't agree with, and that, we have massive diarrhea or itching from it, and we just poo it, no pun intended, and like eat it again at another time, like that we just ignore our internal wisdom and knowing that things are a yes
or a no.
Yeah. And we let them sit in that gray area.
No, you eat with intention. You drink with intention.
Yeah.
Am I stuffing this chocolate in my face because I really enjoy the taste of it and I, want a piece? Or am I eating to emotionally numb?
Right. That's a beautiful thing about Tantra. And I'm just starting to learn some of that, is like just finding pleasure and enjoy in all things, and being mindful. Like when you do have that piece of chocolate, like it tastes so good in my mouth, and I love when it melts and it sticks to the roof. You're just paying attention to all of those like beautiful little luxuries that we get to have in life.
Yeah, it's like being in the moment.
Yeah.
And not being rushed all the time. Yes.
Yeah.
Soak it all in.
Well, I want to thank you so much for coming today, Uné. Like, this has been a beautiful conversation. I have learned not only things about you, but your process, and believe that I'm going to look at my yard a lot differently.
I hope so.
Yeah. Is there any last words you'd like to share? Anything you have to say?
I do have a transmission that came through that I would like to share with everyone. And I just want to express how grateful I am for this work that you're doing. And we all get to learn from each other.
Yeah.
And I've been really enjoying being in your space. So,
thank you.
Yes. Are you ready?
Ready.
This is a crystalline seed transmission that came through the unified field of consciousness. I welcome you, not as an expert, but as a mirror of your own remembering. The body is not broken. It is brilliant, whispering in waves and symbols, asking only to be felt, not fixed. What we call awakening is often just a soft returning to breath, to rhythm, to the ancient intelligence pulsing beneath our skin. You do not need to decode it all. You only need to listen. And in the listening, everything begins to heal.
Love that. And so very true.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for sharing all your beautiful gifts. And I look forward to continuing to get to know you.
I would love that.
All
Thank
right.
you, Lindsay.
Yes. If you liked this episode, please like and subscribe to continue to hear more conversations around healing and growth. Until next time, be kind to yourself, listen inward, and follow what lights you up.